my diggers at?
I may never bleed from a bullet. I may never march in the infantry. May never see the walls of a prison, held hostage by the hand of the enemy. But I'm a protector, defender, and fighter for the truth. And when my life's on the line, follow through. So no matter where, no matter when, no matter what, I am a soldier, and it's love that I'm fighting for. I am a soldier, and the battle belongs to the Lord. I'm marching on into the valley, marching on. I'm marching on. I am a soldier, marching on. I'm putting on a different kind of armor. The war isn't waged against flesh and blood. I'm taking up the sword of the Spirit until the day that the kingdom comes. I'm protector, defender, and fighter for the truth. And when my life's on the line, follow through. So no matter where, no matter when, no matter what, I am a soldier, and it's love that I'm fighting for. I am a soldier, and the battle belongs to the Lord. I'm marching on into the valley, marching on. I'm marching on. I am a soldier, marching on. To the wounded warrior, weary soul, keep holding the line and don't let go. Though the sweat runs down and the heart grows weak, we fight for the side with the victory. I am a soldier, and it's love that I'm fighting for. I am a soldier, and the battle belongs to the Lord. I'm marching on into the valley, marching on. I'm marching on. I am a soldier, marching on.
Boom! Boom, chakalaka, boom, boom, boom. Welcome, everybody, to Q School. Kyle, awesome, brother. I love what you're showing on the screen. Where we go one, we go all. Everybody, welcome to another Q School recording. This is March 18th, the Lord's year 2022. Tim 17 coming to you live here with my son by my side, Matthew, and my partner, my brother from another mother, Kyle, undercover white hat. How you doing, brother?
What's happening, buddy? Definitely. I love seeing you. Love getting a chance to hang out with these beautiful digital soldiers, amazing patriots, truth seekers. Man, what else we got on there? Prayer warriors, spiritual warriors. Thank you guys so very much for being here. All your support, much love. Shout out to all the support you guys give. Just showing up every day, learning something, having an open mind, and then hopefully spreading that information around the world, because that is, we're in the age of information, but it's also the age of disinformation too. So we disinformation and deception. So we got to be able to filter through all that and speak our truth, find the information as best we can, and then share that with the world. And I think everyone's doing that to the best of their ability. So I appreciate all you guys do. So yeah, let's get started. Tim, where do you want to go first?
Well, you know me, I like to go right to the Delta Q drop. So tonight's theme, we're going to do a couple things. Obviously, we're going to put our eyes right on the prize. That's the Delta Q drops. We have 3-year and 4-year Deltas for today's date, March 18th. There's 18 3-year Deltas and only 2 4-year Deltas. Very interesting. So a total of 15 Q drops that relate to today's date. But, you know, we like to have fun at Q School. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into the audience here. We're going to go into our brothers and sisters from around the world. And I need just a couple of numbers fired into the diggers. That's our chat here. Fire a couple numbers and a couple of words. I need 2 numbers, 2 words. And we're going to bring those into Q Drops tonight. So, Kyle, what you got on the screen? Is that one of our beautiful sponsors by any chance?
It is. Let's talk about some of the things going on our channel real quick since we just started the recording. Again, today is March 18th, 2022. Generally Monday through Friday, we try to start around 7:17 Eastern time, but we had a video going and we started a little late at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we try to start here, but sometimes maybe Kylie Bird's a little tired from working all night, or Tim's got something going on. So every now and change. We try to stay near 7:17 Eastern on Monday through Friday. Saturday is going to be kind of always something maybe different each day, but this Saturday is ladies' night. So what time's that one starting at, Tim? Looks like it says 8:17 is the ladies' night.
8:17 Eastern Standard Time. Yes, the ladies are excited about that. This will be the second one we've done. So, ladies, let's do this.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I don't even know how our beautiful soldiers here thought of this idea. I love that it just kind of organically came about. But what's going to be the deal there is, guys are welcome, but their mics will all guys' mics will be muted. And like I say, if the women feel you're maybe deem you worthy enough with your hand raised, or maybe they'll make you sweat for a while, maybe they'll let you come on. But I think it's a good idea too for guys to just maybe shut up for a little bit, shut up and listen, try to learn. And ladies, now more than ever is the time to form, different groups with womanhood, sisterhood. There's a certain that's the truth. I talk about the most powerful force in the universe is a circle of women supporting each other, and that's something that's been taken from us in our past. Women have been shamed, violently attacked, and that we have all this trauma to heal, and that's starting now. So women joining these sisterhoods and finding their power and supporting each other is a very powerful thing. And as the women rise, that makes the men rise too. So I think it's a good time for men to listen and hear what their thoughts are. And try not to talk so much. It just if you have some thoughts, maybe they'll let you on there. But sometimes there's a reason we have two ears and only one mouth. So just remember that. And so I won't let me get off this picture. There we go. So then what else we got? So our chat channel, Q School Diggers, t.me/Q School Diggers. When you join there, make sure you click the Where We Go One, We Go All button so they know you're not a robot. And then some are just different sponsorship opportunities to support the channel. We have EverVive. They've been with us for a while now. Chris and my buddy Pat Petrini are the founders of EverVive, evervive.com right here. And they have two main CBD products for your skin. Okay, this advanced healing oil with the mangosteen fruit in there. It's a super awesome plant. That's what it looks like right here. It's actually a natural anti-inflammatory. And then this amazing moisturizer oil too. Again, CBD based. They have some other stuff coming in the works. Looks like they got a immune system stuff. This isn't there yet, but they're going to keep growing. But they just focusing on having really high quality products and helping people restore their natural health and getting connected with all that, right? And even just their mission statement, so in alignment with what Tim and I and all of us around here are about. EverVive, expression of our core values, truth, love, and freedom. So check their channel out, evervive.com. And if you use the code QSchool, you'll get 10% off, and that goes to help support our channel as well. And but we do now also have direct lines for donations. Cash App, we're going to be Q School Army, and venmo.com/Q School Army. If you guys want to donate a little something to help us out, Tim and I and all the other admins here, and of course all the people that come on and share, have been donating our time and effort for a very long time, and hopefully we can get Tim to be a professional digger and not have to keep going to work anymore. But we'll keep doing the best we can. We're going to get you recordings every day regardless of that. So we thank you all for the support you do in any form. Much love, and we're excited to get to the Q Drops here today.
5-5, brother. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with all the Patriots around the world joining us. We have a packed house here again tonight. Love each and every one of you, and this should be fun. We're going to have fun here tonight. So, of course, we're gonna open up the 3-year deltas and the 4-year deltas. Of course, we've got QA.news on the screen, and of course, Kyle is just buzzing through that. Just it's amazing to see him work on right on the live screen here for you. That's why we love it at Q School. We always have the full screen in voice chat open and available throughout most of the time in the day and into the evening and into the late hours for those of you who can't sleep or just like to be up late at night. We have Scott, one of our newest managers, adventures, streaming all through the night into the until the sun comes up, and even beyond that after the first pot or maybe even second pot of coffee that you're on. So yeah, definitely.
This is actually a live looking at Scott at night when he's doing the hosting.
yeah, there he is. Yeah, we love our brother Scott and his co-pilot Christina. I mean, they go hand in hand. So Christina's always checking in the chat, with the hands being raised and bringing on Patriots to, share their excitement and stuff. So I just love what's happening right now. And of course, Mermaid and Highlander. Highlander is our stealth bomber. Doesn't say much, won't come on here and say hello or anything, but we know he's working hard in the background and he's doing a lot of work, behind the scenes here on the channel. So thank you. And of course, Kelly is our prayer warrior, prayer angel, and she actually is starting to do some live streaming here too. So, and then Mermaid Q with all the beautiful advertisements and keeping the bots in the chat, making sure that we're not getting attacked by any shills or anything like that, keeping everything nice and clean and cozy for all of our new guests that come here to join us on a daily basis. So, I love that flag. There's that Q flag blowing in the breeze. Yeah, and then of course I asked the Patriots tonight to give me. I took the first two. The two that came up. There was a number 22 from Brad and a number 1700 from Patriot MS tonight. Thank you guys for jumping in right away into Diggers and dropping those numbers. We also have the words looking glass and laptop. This could be an interesting Q school.
I don't think I can add that to. Well, okay, we got the two separate posts. All right, we'll do looking glass. Let's just do looking glass. I think there's
and that was looking glass was from Jonathan up here in Canada. Thanks, Jonathan, for your participation tonight. Yeah, you did, eh? Yeah.
And laptop. All right. So I'm going to be sharing my screen here, guys. If you're on a cell phone or an iPad and watching it live, go ahead and turn it sideways. We'll give you the best view. I'll zoom in the best I can when we're reading different posts. But if you're on your phone or iPad, you can also pinch and zoom too to get a better look. And also we'll scroll different articles so you can watch this later on the recording. I've listened to some of our recordings, and Tim and I speak slowly enough and clearly enough, you can listen to it pretty well on 2x speed unless we're covering stuff you're not familiar with. We do, man, yesterday we covered all kinds of stuff. We were all brain fried at the end of that too. So, but we'll do the best we can to connect the dots for you. We're covering the Q information, which was dropped originally on 4chan, then 8chan, and now it's been the latest post on 8kun, backed up by a Department of Defense IP address. Interesting enough. And we'll be going there. So there's multiple different places to get Q drops. The main one I use is what's like we call qag.news. Okay, that's the main place I use. It takes a little while to kind of figure out how to use it, but once you do, it's just got a really great search function, and I'm familiar with it. So, but you're, if you're comfortable going somewhere else for your Q posts, more power to you. There's also qalerts.net. Then there's also QAnon.pub, are all different places you can get Q drops, and there's also the one was at QPosts.online as well. Online. So multiple different places you can get Q drops, and all these different sites, guys, are what's known as third-party aggregates. They're basically taking all the drops from the chans, 4chan, 8chan, etc., because those boards are a little bit difficult to navigate. It's kind of like the wild, wild west of the internet, a true free speech board, but it's not easy to navigate through there. So fortunately, these different people have put their time and effort into the movement and gotten all the drops in one place for us, organized where we can read them. And then, of course, like QAG and these others have these awesome search function where you can put any word in. So somebody requested laptop, so I did laptop there. Right away, it tells you how many drops there are. Okay, 12 drops with laptop in it. Now there is, and I don't even know QAG, I don't even probably use 80% of the stuff they actually have on here. So there might be a way to make sure it's only Q drops. It doesn't matter. We'll still scroll it. Sometimes when you do this regular search, the word might be in like an anonymous's post. So this is a Q post, but if you'll see, there's a anonymous post sometimes embedded in a Q post, but some of that might be hard to understand. We're going to just get straight into the Q drops. If you're new here, just keep an open mind. It might be kind of Greek at first, but keep coming back and listening. We're going to dig for the truth. We got amazing digital soldiers that'll drop the sauce or the source information, depending, whether it's a website or alternative news or regular news or mainstream news or somebody's social media. We dig everywhere for the truth, and that's what we're all about. We try to connect the dots. To summarize it too, that we're not in any kind of weird cult or anything like that. We're a group of critical thinkers who analyze and decode the Q information, which I quite honestly believe is one of the greatest gifts to humanity, but it's not very well understood by a large portion of the population. Even people familiar with Q don't fully understand it because it is difficult to understand. It's a bit cryptic. There's a lot of complexity to it. There's a lot of layers and things to it. It has multiple meanings, and it's just a very high level military operation. Is known as a public information dissemination program. This was an opportunity for the presidency and our military, a White Hats Alliance, to communicate directly with the people, to bypass the fake news media and let us know what was going on. Because in this unconventional, this fifth generation unrestricted warfare that we're in, World War III, the information war, the spiritual war that we've been in for several years now. If you haven't noticed, it's now 2022. It's been going on for quite a while. There's a lot of deception, and there's deception on the bad guys and the good guys. So we don't know exactly what's happening, but the Q information helps us connect the dots and read between the lines and sort of pull back the curtain to see what's really going on. And I do believe we understand it. We know there's a plan in place, and there's something very big that's playing out behind the scenes. And eventually the shoe's going to drop, so to speak, and it's all going to kind of come to an abrupt end, and people are going to be really, really shocked. We're here to help steward in this information, to help people deal with the information that's going to come forward. People you were taught to trust the most have done very dark and evil things. Everything you've pretty much learned is backwards and upside down. Our history, everything, you name it. And so this is a great unlearning process, really. We have to shed our programming that we've had for so long. And that's really a big part of this Q movement too, is teaching us to be critical thinkers. And Q says it a lot, is you thinking for yourself outside the box of the matrix. Basically, when you think for yourself, you're no longer able to be controlled. And that's very, very powerful. And that's what this whole movement is really about.
Yeah, you're so right, Kyle. Thanks for that beautiful introduction. And I mean, it's changed my life, and how I've always had an outlook on what was really going on. I kind of always felt that there was something weird, something strange going on, but I had no idea how bad and how deep this corruption was. I mean, it's really, really shocking at first, but spending pretty much every day following other digital soldiers around the world, and then sinking my teeth more into this Q information, I really started waking up quickly, and I really understand now how this is working. In order to, it's not like, obviously the Q information doesn't give us all the answers. We'll never have all the answers, but we definitely expand our thinking and think logically. And I just love now how I can pick all the propaganda news articles and newscasts, anything that the deep state media is talking about. I can pick it apart like in a heartbeat because of what I've learned here. And I really believe that the new people that are joining us now every single day are seeing the same thing. They're starting to say, hey, that doesn't sound right what they said on TV. Why are they saying that when this is going on? So this is kind of the, battling with that fog of war that I always talk about, the information warfare. And I like to be on the side of truth and the side of God. And I like where I landed right here, right now. Kyle, back to you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Amen. And man, it's been quite a ride for us too, Tim and I, expanding ourselves to our own channel now, our own platform. We originally started under the MG Show channel. They've been in the Q movement for a long time, Matrix Groove. They do have a Telegram channel, t.me/MG Show, but I would recommend going just right to their Rumble. They're putting some amazing videos there. MG Show, again, Matrix Groove. They're doing what they do. They do a show every day like us, Tim, too. Yeah, so every day, and they're very well researched. Great digs on here. So there's a recent episode about Hunter Biden's laptop. Man, there's so much good information here. They've done some stuff, Jim Coms too, about gematria. Let's see where's the one Look here, Sons of Tyranny. Okay, the different sons. We got Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and Joe Biden all have sons on energy boards in Ukraine. Isn't that interesting? And again, I listed Mitt Romney, a Republican, because it's not about left versus right. These people are all criminals on both sides of the aisle, so don't be confused by that. In fact, the two-party system was designed to enslave us, right? And I think it also creates this this system, or this what's the word I'm looking for, like a where there's no accountability, right? It's always blaming the other side. And that's kind of what we've been programmed as a society to help to really create to help prevent you from rising. Is we've created this this new age thing is of, I'm the victim. Oh, you're a victim because of this, or you don't have this advantage or that. And that's the beauty of America, and hopefully, that spreads around the world, is when you have true freedom, is you have the ability to rise regardless of your circumstances. However, we've been programmed, and especially strongly this younger generation, that you're a victim. And, and what happens then is nobody accepts responsibility, and you are losing your power. It's disempowering you by thinking you're a victim and you're just a result of your circumstance. There's nothing you can do about it. Au contraire, the exact opposite is true. And that's what happens when you start thinking critically for yourself. You accept responsibility for things in your life, including like your health, responsibility and accountability for your own health. When you're healthy, you're no longer able to be controlled. You're not a slave to some pill or an addiction and things like that. And all of us have dealt with these in various different ways. So nobody's perfect, and that's important too, to go easy on yourself and just keep getting better every day. That's your only competition, is with who you were yesterday. But we're going to try to aim at this. There's all these components in the Q post, right? It's the truth movement. It's awakening. But in that awakening is this spiritual component where you're, the ascension, or, becoming a better person. It's all connected. It's all related. And the information here is quantum. So even if we're reading a post from 3 years ago, it might be totally relevant to today as well. So I'm excited to see what we're going to get into.
Yeah, me too. So one thing we do here on Q School too, because we have a big audience each night when we're doing our recordings, is everybody's muted, but you can raise your hand. And I see that I'm going to check in with Mermaid and check in on the chat and see if we've got a couple Patriots with hands up. Go ahead, Mermaid.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry. Terry, we're on.
Unmute once you unmute yourself, make your mic green. Come on in.
That could be a false alarm. We call that a Q School FF, false flag. False flag. Sometimes people bump their mute button or unmute button by mistake. That's fine, but that's how it works. You just have to bump it once, right, Mermaid? Bump it once, your hand goes up, and then once Mermaid unlocks you, you bump it again, right, Mermaid? Is that how it works?
That is exactly how it works. Yeah. So if you even bump it by mistake and you don't want to really ask a question, then maybe you can leave and come back in and it will reset everything. But if you do have a question, just bump your mic and we will open it.
Thank you, Mermaid. Thanks for that.
Bump it up.
Bump it up. Let's go. Friday night. Let's go. Okay, let's dive into these Q drops. Kyle, what do we got here? What do we got on the screen?
Let's start with, you said how many 3-year deltas did we have, Tim?
Yeah, there's 13 3-year deltas. Yep.
Yeah, so let's jump in this. And I just want to mention real quick. So yesterday, March 17th, Q Day, man, what a frenzy of Q proofs. It wound up being a Q proof and a total salute to the military. If you haven't watched that episode, check it out. Man, very powerful. And just so anyone knows, we're covering deltas. Deltas, it just means the change in time. And when we're saying 1 year, 2 year, 3 year deltas, that means Q posts from today's date. So again, today now is March 18th, 2022. So yesterday, March 17th, this would be what we would call a 3-year delta. And we do try to keep an eye on these as much as possible. And Tim, I do want to still keep trying to stay ahead as much as we can. Or I shout out to all you digital soldiers. If you see some interesting deltas coming up in the next few days, please let us know. Make sure that we highlight them and cover them. But March 16th is this very odd date that there's not a single Q post. And by the way, Q posted for roughly about 3 years on the first stage of their operation, public dissemination part of it. So from roughly late October of 2017 all the way to December of 2020, they posted for about 3 years. So this date, March 17th or March 16th, there would have been 3 years of opportunity for Q to post that. March 16th, 2018, March 16th, 2019, and March 16th, 2020. And in 4,953 drops, not a single drop is on any March 16th date. And we found and then one of our brilliant digital soldiers, MelzieKaye, thought, hey, why don't we look at Q post 316 then, right? That's how America writes the date with the month first. March 16th would be 316. Very, very odd post itself, where it seems like it's not an accident. It's almost like I think those were supposed to be maybe the deltas. It's hard to explain. We covered it quite a bit extensively the other day, so I'm not going to get into it too much. But this really odd string of posts where these are anonymous people talking on the chans, but it's like these seem to be maybe helper anons or part of the white hat team, and there's some definite coding in here, I think, that is happening. And I think we need to keep looking at it farther because they're trying to tell us something. We had 0 deltas on 316, and then boom, go to 317, March 17th, and we have 17 deltas on Q day. So it was pretty powerful day. So I just want to highlight this one part right here where we started. Okay, this misspelling. Thanks for playing at Jack, showing your hand was the intended target. The strike will be fast. Shall we play a game? Question mark. That's from the movie War Games. Q. Then Q responded to their own post there, and they just said strike on the move. Okay, and Q has repeatedly said they're a military, high-level military insider, and there's this alliance of military helping to defeat this evil. And we get confirmations daily when we read that, when we actually read the Q post and we pay attention to the news, because news unlocks the map in all forms. Plus there's comms in different ways, especially on Twitter. So again, right here, we just had a 3-year delta where Q just said strike on the move. And sure enough, the United States Army just the other day, now I'm gonna have to scroll a ways to find where that post was. Let's see, they posted quite a bit. It looks like, okay, it's not too much farther. And where was it? One more. Here it is. Okay, so March 17th, here's the date right here. You can see it. March 17th, the Army says some days you just have to embrace the suck. 2nd Brigade Comeback Team strike. Right there, right on the same exact day, 3-year delta, United States Army is posting strike in with quotation marks. On the actual Q post, there's 1 quotation on each side. I'm not sure the actual technical name of that, but not an accident, guys. This is how obvious they are with their confirmations. And there was even more incredible deltas slightly before that with, I guess we got to go back one more day now. That was the 15th where we had an Air Force plane flying under the call sign Q, and another Army plane flying under the call sign Anon way back in 2018 when no one really know. Here's another one, the President of the United States retweeting a account on Twitter that happens to have a profile image of Q with a MAGA hat. And this is how it works, guys, when you're paying attention and right on Q day, right? So all these major proofs are happening. And then we got 2 proofs that day with the U.S. Army. First was the strike post, okay, 3-year delta, not a coincidence. And then they had another post shortly later, and that was right when we were on the show, or at least maybe it might have been slightly before the show started. Right here is this one. Watch as U.S. Army paratroopers conduct a live fire exercise with 60 millimeter and 120 millimeter mortars at their training area in Germany. But right here, these, I didn't catch it. Somebody saw this. It's the 3 boom, boom, booms. And back to the deltas was Q post 954 was a 4-year delta. I think that might still be up. Yeah, right here. Look at this. Again, on March 17th, same day. So this would be a 4-year delta, 954. And we got boom, boom, boom right there. And you got the United States Army essentially shouting us out like that. But see, it's also plausible deniability. They can say we were just posting that because we wanted to, not like, not any connection. And that's how this whole thing works, right? It's right here. The plausible deniability is they can say, well, we're not part of that. We don't know what you're talking about, because the mainstream media, of course, is painting it as this crazy conspiracy movement with violence, even though there's 5,000 posts and none of them have not a single one calls for violence in it. But that's what this is trying to understand all this. And when you actually read the Q drops, we get all these massive confirmations when we see that and read between the lines and we look at these other places where the information's coming in at.
Yeah, I was going to say too. I mean, yeah, definitely. If you missed last night's show, and we broke an attendance record here too, we shattered it, and the recording is at Q School right now. We do have we actually have a library now. It's called Q School Library for all of our past recordings. But definitely watch last night. I was going to ask you, Kyle, is it possible to have a 17 hangover? I mean, there was so many connections and booms last night. I'm going, how could we even come close to matching that show that we had last night tonight? You know, I do feel good. Right. It's Friday. It's been a tough week, a rough week, but we've gotten through it. And you know, I think we're going to have some more fun tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. So let's, without further ado,
Hey, Kyle, I just wanted to mention, you know how when the mainstream media asks Trump about Q, they call it QAnon, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. They never call it Q. They always call it QAnon. So he's like, nope, have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not part of that.
Right.
So
good point.
I think that's where it kind of, he cannot lie about it because they're not calling it the right name. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, exactly. In this post, I've showed quite a bit, kind of a good intro one. Q post 4881, October 17th, 7th Q Day, 2020. You know, Q tells us there is Q, one, there are Anons, two, there is no QAnon. That's not even a thing. And the media basically created this because when you can't attack the information, which is the primary source, which is Q, you can't attack the information, you have to attack the messenger. But this is even a more unique case. You can't even attack the messenger because no one really knows who or what Q is. And the fact that it just gives it more validity. So the media created this thing called QAnon. And yeah, nobody's asked the question. It would have to be specifically, you know, Mr. Trump, President Trump, are you connected to the Q or the Q operation, right? But this QAnon is not a thing. So it's very interesting how it sees the few times they have tried to walk up to that and the way he answered it. I almost want to play that video where he's doing the interview, the town hall one. And she says, you know, what she says about QAnon, she said, well, it's this and this. He's like, well, just because you say so doesn't mean it's actually that. Because, man, if we can have that one, I think somebody posted that in Diggers. If someone could reshare that, I might want to just play that real quick. But Tim, I think we should jump right into the Q drops. I know that's what people really want us to do the most. So let's just go into flurry here. Maybe we won't go a full, well, maybe they'll make the show a little bit shorter, but let's just blaze through a bunch of Q drops. How's that sound?
Yeah, I like that. And let's not forget about Brad's 22 and Patriot MS 1700. And we do have the two words, Looking Glass and Laptop. So we're going to scan it all. We're going to see what pops out on the screen for us tonight. Yeah, let's have some fun. Dig.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got those guys up. So let's, I'm going to start on the March 18th 3-year deltas. And tell me the number again one more time. How many of these?
There are 13 of them.
13. Okay. And then just a couple 4-year deltas, right?
Yeah, so only two 4-year deltas.
Okay. So let's plow through a few of these and then I'm going to feel, then we'll jump over to those other numbers or the words. I think somewhere it's going to work, match in there perfectly. So 33111. You want to read this one, Tim?
I would love to. Thank you, sir. So we have a link up there, foxnews.com link, politics, Nunes files bombshell, defamation suit against Twitter, seeks $250 million for anti-conservative shadow ban smears. And then Q says, you were warned at Jack, the strike. Oh, there's that strike again. The strike will be fast. Let's keep playing, ... Q.
Boom. So that's pretty straightforward there. Okay, Devin Nunes, big part of this whole movement. Now he's the CEO or the main guy behind Truth Social, right? I think he's the CEO. I could have that wrong. But Nunes sues Twitter. Some users seeks over 250 million alleging anti-conservative shadow bans and smears. So this is the big tech. This is all what's, we understand the media is fake. If you don't understand that yet, hopefully you keep an open mind. We'll show you, we'll help you understand that. The other part though, is then the last kind of blockage is the big tech, because they can control, what information is presented. They're banning people. They're bringing posts down, et cetera, et cetera. So it's that's really the last big obstacle we're kind of have to take on is big tech here too. So there's clearly some sort of war playing out, and Q is highlighting that for us. Mermaid, you want to read the next post?
Sure. Which one is the next? I was scanning myself. The 3112. So there's a link to the New York Post, suspect mob boss killer. And Q responds, no such effort to kill a LARP, live action role play. Nothing to see here, Q.
Yeah, so Q keeps highlighting this, said this a bunch of times, right? If this is all, so LARP, it stands for live action role player. That's what some people have called Q, saying basically it's just this fake thing. It's a kid in his basement that's just having fun with everyone and trying to, just play a game. It's all a big game, but yet these media corporations have spent hours, millions, there's thousands of articles all trying to discredit this Q movement. Why is that? Again, because they don't want you thinking for yourself. So they gotta try to put their disinformation out there and all their hit pieces and shills. So this one's where they take it even farther. I'm pretty sure this is the one. They got this clown here that allegedly, suspected mob boss killer writes MAGA forever, and then a QAnon symbol on his hand, of course, because, we do stuff like this. This is totally normal. So this guy killed some mob boss. Very interesting, too. There's more to this story because it's a Gambino. Let me find this. Where is that? I thought it's a Gambino family. They see QAnon in here 15 times, but they don't even talk about the guy he actually killed. Let's see. Where is it? Okay. There's at least one Don he really likes. The man suspected of gunning down mafia kingpin Francesco Frankie Boy Cali showed off a hand covered in scrawls related to President Trump and the conservative QAnon movement at his first court appearance on Monday. Who have been yonder? And let's see. Yeah, okay. So supposedly he wrote on his hand Q, which is just so stupid. Like, why would you even do that? Doesn't make any sense. Like I said already, 5,000 different Q posts, not a single one calls for violence. So if this guy is really part of the Q movement, why is he, killing this mob boss? And how does that even relate? None of this makes sense. But certainly people that believe the mainstream narrative and believe what they've been told about QAnon, that it's about vampires or whatever that one we covered yesterday, even though there's not a single Q post with vampires or reptilians or eating babies. None of that is in any of these posts. But if you believe the media, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy's just crazy. These people are nuts. But it's total and utter nonsense. And look at, they obviously had to do some operation. I mean, who knows if the guy got really killed? I don't believe anything of any stories I hear in the media. But if this guy killed somebody, goes to jail, they basically use this pawn now. This poor guy, probably brainwashed, probably has a therapist, probably under medication, and he either killed the guy, or what they also do is they'll use a code word and they'll have a hitman take the person out, and then they activate this guy, and this guy thinks he committed the murder. That's very common too with these false flags. That's a little bit of a high level subject, so I don't want to get too much in that because that might sound crazy to some. But these people will think they actually did the crime. Yeah, buddy.
Kyle, did you say you don't believe the media? You know what, brother? I watch and believe the media every day. I believe they're lying to us. I believe we need to think 180, think mirror. So whatever they're telling you, whatever BS they're telling you, just flip it upside down, and there's your truth, man. Turn it inside out. Think mirror. Back to you, bro.
Yeah, great point. And Tim highlights that too, that, they kind of highlight, once you learn that, you can use that to your advantage. Everybody they're saying is good is generally bad, and everybody they're saying is a bad person is actually good. It really is. It's a think mirror. Everything is upside down and flipped on its head. That always makes me think this one's let's see, hold on. Right here, the CIA director in 1981, William Casey, Okay, this is an actual quote, and it's been confirmed. The lady that was in the Oval Office at the time, because Ronald Reagan asked, how's our program, going with the CIA? The actual director of the CIA said this quote. He said, we'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the U.S. public believes is false. That was in 1981. Update, they were successful. Wildly successful. Again, this is confirmed quote. Another woman that was in the Oval Office confirmed that this was actually said. So, I mean, this is what it is, right? Everything is backwards and upside down and flipped on its head. And that's how we're trying to help you understand that. So one last thing about this very interesting psyop or counter narrative the media was trying to run is, so this Camelo, a construction worker, is charged with fatally gunning down Cali, the head of the Gambino crime family outside of Cali's Staten Island home on Wednesday night. Tim, do you know who also prosecuted the Gambino family back in the day?
I think that was Durham, was it not?
Yeah, I believe you're correct, buddy. That would be John Durham for 1,000. Let's take a look here. We'll search Gambino.
$1,700. Ching, 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 ching.
So right here, we get another post. This one's coming up in a few more days. This will be a Delta, 3-year Delta in a few days here. Let's see. The Daily Beast is talking about the same person, this same topic. So it's back in the media here. When the constant barrage of fake news attacks fail, those who are the biggest threats, ... Nothing to see here. Number 2. And so there's multiple meanings there. Number 2 is sometimes Andrew McCabe, number 2 in the FBI. Here, I think Q is referencing that they are the number 2 most attacked thing, second only to Donald Trump. So that's kind of what they're saying here. Again, always saying QAnon is this far right thing. If you've been on the show before, we show the very first few Q posts that all say it's not about Republican versus Democrat. You'll see that, as you read through here. But here's the big one right here. Calm before the storm. POTUS, when did he say that? Month, day, Q went public campaign, October 28th, 2017. We also see that Durham was initiated as acting special counsel or acting attorney, United States attorney, one of these different roles. We need to look into that more because I think they're telling us something with that too. But was initiated on October 20th, 2017, same exact day. Nobody know who Durham was until about 2019 anyways. But okay, right here though. What famous crime family did Durham target? Also spearheaded mob prosecutions of the Gambino, Genovese, and I'm going to butcher these names. And this one, crime family. Apologize for the Italians out there. So here's an article. CIA abuse investigator John Durham. Okay, so he investigated CIA abuses, but in particular, he was there prosecuting the Gambino crime family. And this guy is supposedly this fake guy that drew Q on his hand, supposedly killed a Gambino crime boss. So I don't know what to make of that, what Q's trying to tell us with that, but either way, there's more to the story than that. And then here also, what ABC agency did Durham target? ABC stands for the 3-letter agencies, FBI, CIA, DOJ, et cetera, et cetera. But with the C in the kill box here, we know that they're specifically talking about the CIA. And that article was there kind of highlighting that. John Durham looked at the CIA abuses, in particular the interrogating their prisoners. These terrorists, they used a lot of very violent and torturous techniques, and he was the one that basically investigated that through and through and brought about different prosecutions and whatnot. And Gina Haspel is connected to that in different ways too. And we should actually learn a little bit more about that, how that all played out, because I don't know a lot about that anyways. So
yeah,
how a message is sent just like that. Go ahead, buddy.
And one more thing about the CIA, especially for our new guests that are just starting to look at this information now for the first time. The CIA is behind most media companies. It's called Operation Mockingbird. Look it up. Do some research on Operation Mockingbird. It started back in the 50s. That's something I never knew until this movement came, right on my plate. And I'm just amazed by the information that I learned. But also, the CIA is behind all of the big tech companies like your Facebooks and Twitters and Instagrams and TikToks, and I mean that's how they work. I mean they work. Most evil works in the dark, right, and behind the scenes, and that's what they've been doing. So the clowns in America are behind all of this.
Yeah, well said, Tim. So let's do these next 3 posts. And before we start getting to the pictures, then I feel like then we'll jump to some of those other numbers our friends posted or the different phrases. I think that'll work well. So let's do these next 3 posts. Mermaid, you want to read this one? We're on 3113. It's
Yes,
Amir.
absolutely. So yeah, 3113. What occurred the last time a countdown was presented, in brackets FF? Do you believe in coincidences? Never interfere with an enemy, ... Ammunition is hard to come by, Q.
Okay, Mermaid, what do you think?
Yeah,
What
I
do you
love
think they're
this.
trying to? What do you think they're
I
trying to
love
tell us on that one, Mermaid?
Never interfere with an enemy in the process of them. How's it go?
Destroying them when they're in the process of destroying themselves. Yeah,
Themselves. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I drew a blank
that's
right
all right.
there, but yeah, I think this is an interesting one. What does FF mean in this case?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. So, and that's the other thing with Q posts. There's a lot of abbreviations, and there's no easy way to learn these guys. It just takes time and practice. We do have a key out there. If somebody wants to drop that, I would just always say that key is not exhaustive, and I want to make our own for Q School, our own list. I think that'd be fun, guys. Is what I always say is you should think of at least 3 possible answers for the abbreviations. Why do they do this? Okay. There's multiple reasons. One, it bypasses censorship. Let's say you're talking about a sensitive topic, like maybe COVID-19. You could say CV, and people know what you're talking about. So this helps bypass censorship. There's these programs that were running by the CIA that were trying to stop Q posts when they originally started. So Q claimed this would help bypass censorship. Number 2, it means that there could be possibly more than one answer, because this is a military intelligence operation, and intelligence operations are layered, meaning there can be multiple meanings in one single post or picture or information, and only those dialed in to the orders, i.e. knowing a certain topic, will understand what's actually happening here. So, and then the third thing is it makes people research. Again, the Q was a psyop. It was a psyop to make people start researching for themselves and thinking for themselves and being critical thinkers. So sometimes we see these multiple letters, and it makes us research and try to figure things out, and keeps expanding our mind. So again, if somebody dropped that key in Diggers, I just always want to add, that's not an exhaustive list. I want to encourage everyone to always try to think of another possible answer for these abbreviations, and we should try to always get to 3. Although FF is pretty standard, but I mean, now that as I'm saying that, we should be thinking of a different answer, but pretty much standardly FF would be false flag. So what's happening here is the Q information was designed in a way as disinformation to the deep state, always thinking a date was kind of going to come. Even though Q won't specifically ever say a date, the way it's designed, it led us Anons, digital soldiers in the movement, to like kind of make a prediction like, oh, okay, this is about to happen. Okay, this lines up with these dates. It was intentionally done this way. It's just a beautiful design, actually. And so a brilliant Anon would put a thread together. Okay, I think this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it looks like it's going to be on this date. Then that date would happen, and nothing maybe would happen publicly, so to speak. But this is what Q is letting us understand and know, and this would definitely happen, especially after we got to closer to really big, powerful dates. Let's say like D5, December 5th. Q started alluding to December 5th, and then lo and behold, John Huber, who we heard about first from the Q post, was going to be testifying in a court setting on the Clinton Foundation. And guess what day it happens to be on? D5, December 5th. What happens next? Well, all of a sudden, George H.W. Bush dies. And guess what day they decide to have his funeral on? D5, December 5th, okay? But Q is always ready for that. Moves and counter moves. That's when the wives all got served at that funeral. A lot of different videos we play from time to time kind of are showing scenes from that. So it's a big part of this whole thing. But this is what it is the deep state has a very simple playbook. They've used this playbook for years and years and years, and it's always worked. But now as we become aware to this and awaken, it's no longer working. But the other thing is they have tools in their tool belt. In particular, if they think something bad is going to happen or information is going to come out that's really going to devastate them, attention is the currency of the universe. Where our attention goes, so boom, they're going to have insert a false flag to distract you from the information. They're always trying to distract us. Okay, I mean, look at the world today. First, it was COVID nonstop for 2 years. Now all of a sudden when that first started dying down, boom, insert the race wars by having this incident, which is totally by design, and it seems to be, I'm not even going to get into that, but designed to cause these race wars, then goes on that, and now it's a variant, and et cetera, and now we're on the Ukraine war. Now nobody's talking about COVID, and it's the Ukraine war, but the digital soldiers are exposing all this day by day, but this was very common, is that when it seemed like something was about to happen, all of a sudden there'd be a false flag. Now, false flag, what does that mean? That originally comes from back in the pirate days. I would fly a flag that maybe is a friendly color to you, so you're going to let me get close because you're like, oh, that's one of our own. However, when they get close, then they would attack under this false flag. Okay, so what it really means is some people get confused thinking false flag meaning the incident was fake. Not necessarily true. False flag means there was an incident or an attack, and basically the person being blamed or the reason for it is the lie. Go ahead.
Yeah, and a big one too, we haven't talked about lately, is the January 6th, right? That was a huge false flag, and that's all starting to be leaked out and come out. Like, the truth will come out. It's just taken a while, and unfortunately, we have some beautiful patriots still locked up for basically doing nothing other than walking into the Capitol and taking pictures and waving their beautiful American flags, Trump flags, and they're being prosecuted, as enemies of the country, which is so bizarre and so upside down. But that was a false flag also. So because they knew that, for example, and this is the way I understand it, and I think most people are on the same page with me, that evening the electorals were being not boycotted. There's certain terminology for it, but they were going to look at all the different swing state electorals, and it just so happened that the Capitol was broken into just as they were starting to talk about Arizona. It was just about to be brought up, and all of a sudden, boom. The gates flooded. All these people were brought in. I mean, there's all kinds of videos and pictures of the police actually opening the doors, opening the gates, and just letting all the patriots come in. But we know that the front runners weren't patriots; they were actually something else, soldiers of the deep state, which we call BLM and Antifa, and the FBI, feds. And this is all going to come out, Kyle. But that was a huge false flag.
Yeah, thank you for that. And a great point. You covered everything there, right? They're trying to cover what's about to happen. And just think who benefits from certain things too, right? Who actually benefited from that whole incident, right? Did that help Donald Trump's cause in any way by that? No. Then all the people backtracked and said, oh, no, because of this, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then they went in the middle of the night and passed the stuff, although I think something much, much bigger and crazier happened that day than people will know. We'll be shocked to find out what we've essentially witnessed, but let's see what happens there. Okay, but yeah, great example of false flag. I just want to add, it doesn't always mean that it didn't happen. Sometimes real people do die and are killed, and these people are sick. They will use pawns, MS-13, or any of these people that are mental health, and they're seeing a therapist, getting medication, with a design to control their thoughts. MK Ultra, under a different name now, but this is all the same thing. So Q for 3 years made it seem like something was going to happen. And now let's talk about the other side of that. Okay, that made some patriots, digital soldiers, get a little weary. Like, hey, is this all just a psyop to make us be passive, to kind of keep kicking the can down the road? No, we get so many other confirmations, again, from the military. We see all these sex traffickers getting arrested regular. Hunters become hunted, okay? Ghislaine Maxwell now also prosecuted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, that's just one fish in the sea. There's countless others. There's all these things happening, and you see the narrative breaking down. It just had to be this way. And for those awake, let's say sooner than others, it just seems like it's taken a long time. I always say, man, some people have been awake for 30, 40 years. Imagine how long they've had to wait too. So to find gratitude in the present moment, stop waiting for something to happen that will make things better. That's not living in the present moment. So there is an abundance and beauty in the world right here in front of us. and we just need to be grounded and not have expectations of when something's going to play out. It's going to be on God's timing, not your timing, not our ego wanting things to happen on our time. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Kyle. So let's check in with the chat. We've had some hands raised there for a little while. Let's check in with Mermaid. What do we got going on over there with all our beautiful brothers and sisters, Mermaid?
Yeah, so first it was D&D. Go ahead, D&D, and then Nancy.
All right, I'm going to try couple things. When you were talking about the mafia, Trump testified against the mafia or the mob, and Giuliani also was involved in taking them down. So interesting that all those players are still involved in all of this now. The other I was going to say is FF in the parentheses that way, brackets, could also mean or be referencing the administration with zero scandals, and that being Fast and the Furious, which was the scandal of Obama.
Good. Nice. I've been wanting some other different FS. I love that. So he's what he was referencing there too, but the administration, Obama at the end of his administration famously said, we're a scandal-free administration, and that's coming out. That's going to be totally 100%, 180% opposite of that. And that's a big one was the Fast and the Furious operation, which I don't know it that well, but it basically was, I think, the CIA running guns to the cartels in Mexico. Maybe I'm butchering this, but are you still on there, D&D? You want to give us a little background on that?
You're correct. It was Rahm Emanuel, if I remember correct, that was feeding the guns to the cartel, and they ended up making their way back into the States, and obviously crime ensued, a lot of bad things with the cartel, as well as a border agent that was killed, and that death was tracked back to one of those guns.
Right. Well, thank you. And there's been a lot more of that. And that's what's sick about when you guys find this thing out is our own government using our own taxpayer funding is funded these operations that are harming Americans, bringing about the destruction of America. It's all by design, infiltration over invasion. Nobody could take the United States on militarily after World War II. We'd just become too powerful. But however, there's still plenty of enemies. So what would they do? Well, they're not going to attack head on. They're going to infiltrate from within. And that's what's been happening over time. And Jeffrey Prather, I love listening to him too. I think he got mixed up in this because he was blowing the whistle on them or found out that, hey, this is suspect. And what they do, same MO, same playbook. They basically try to get charges on him and try to discredit him and, ruin his career. Fortunately, he came through. He made it out of there. But they're very nasty in what they do. But, yeah, all these guns where they make the money off this, and then they also wanted to get weapons in these criminals' hands, these gang cartels, because they're running drugs for the CIA, right? Let's say, what's that one guy, the guy that was the big kingpin that got arrested a couple of years ago, they make it seem like he's the head honcho, but no, the head honcho always goes back to the CIA actually doing the drug running. They have these other, drug kingpins as their patsies. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, before we go back to the chat, I think Nancy has her hand up, but watch this, Kyle. This is something that we didn't even talk about, but simple gematria, because we were taught that in Q drop number 40, that's where the ABCDE ... equals 41020, right? So Donald J. Trump, 41020, simple gematria. If you take the FF and the kill boxes there, kill brackets, so that would be 66, Kyle. Do you want to bring up Q drop 66? Check this out. Watch this, folks. Just another thought.
I'll read this one.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is back on November 2nd of 2017, timestamp 20 hours, 19 minutes, 28 seconds, and embedded is an anon that says, let's be clear, you're telling us POTUS is currently under attack by our own intelligence agencies? Q responds, let's be real clear. The CIA just attacked the command-in-chief, which was immediately detected by NSA, military intelligence, and alerted to POTUS. Re-review all my crumbs, including today, yesterday, weekend. What does this mean? What actions are immediately occurring? if this leaks or the immediate action ongoing at Langley, you'll have your verification ahead of schedule. Q. Boom.
Boom. I love this post too. I was actually looking for this one the other day. So thank you for identifying this. And this is, very early on in Q, and people would always come on the channels claiming to be an insider. And this was when it was starting. I mean, you could already 66 drops in. There's a massive amount of information, and people were starting to connect the dots and be like, holy cow, this might be something here. But this one really shook people because, we've always thought this. We knew the CIA, but this is what happened here. This is correct. Is when the missile got fired too, because Trump had his Twitter taken down temporarily by a rogue agent, and that was Q basically said that the day before it would happen. Another Q proof, and they embedded a tracking code in there. And I don't know if this is if they're talking about specifically the missile being launched. I think it was actually. And this is a big deal. And this is they put it out there like this. There's no more playing around or beating around the bushes. This is what it is Donald Trump is the outsider. He wasn't one of these puppets. And it was basically, they knew that once he got elected and then started understanding that he was part of this bigger plan, that this is for their survival now, because he's going to complete the mission, which is bringing them all the way down. And so they're fighting for their survival. That's the CIA. They've turned totally rogue, black hat. They're running the drugs. They're doing human trafficking. They're doing blackmail. That's the Jeffrey Epstein type situations. That's all under the CIA's control. Also, maybe they're even the puppets of the Mossad. We had that theory last night. It's starting to make sense. So either way, this is for all the marbles, and they're going to do everything they can. And so that's what Q just puts it right out there. Let's be real clear. The CIA just attacked and so they shorten sometimes words. I think there could be a reason for that. Sometimes it's just, again, this kind of robotic writing, but the CIA just attacked the commander-in-chief. That's the president of the United States, which was immediately detected by the NSA and the military intelligence. So very big deal to be making this claim, because also we'll find out later on, they've validated themselves with the president of the United States by having these zero deltas. A zero delta would be Q posting and then Trump tweeting less than a minute later. And if you put that on a graph, the zero deltas are so much more astronomically high than the other ones that it's way above a statistically possibility of being just a coincidence. It means there is coordination. This is how we find these things out.
Yeah. Okay. I feel bad for Nancy. Her arm must be falling off. She's had her arm up for a little while. Let's check in with Mermaid. Sorry, Nancy. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Nancy.
Hey there. I ran FF through QAG, and what popped up was almost like FF means fact find. To something Flynn dropped, which basically says read, listen, understand, comprehend, and respond with facts and sound analysis. That is how digital soldiers fight back. And that's 4868.
I like it. 4868.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I love this. So let's just let's check this post out. Thank you, by the way, much appreciated. So October 15, 2020, we get a post here from General Flynn. Is this what is this? What's that name of that one? It was like the alternative. Oh, Parler. Okay, Parler. I think it's Parler. So I'm assuming this is a real General Flynn. I mean, Q's sharing it, so it must be important. Digital soldiers must fight on battlefields not of our choosing. Allowing tyranny to reign over liberty keeps us from breathing freedom's fresh air and informing our democracy of the grave threats our constitutional republic faces. Read, listen, understand, and comprehend and respond with facts and sound analysis. That is how digital soldiers fight back. America is a constitutional republic where supreme power is held by we the people through our duly elected representatives and not any one media platform. Ensure your vote counts. God bless America. And that was just Q just shared that image. Yeah, I like it. Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah, this is the first hour's gone by, Kyle. We got just a little under an hour left in the show. So let's get back to those deltas. And don't forget, we still need to kind of scan across, take a little peek at Brad's 22 and Patriot MS is 1700.
Let's go right there. How about that? And then it's interesting enough, that's the only Q post of all the Q posts where the FF is actually in the brackets. But I liked Fact Find, and we got Fast and the Furious, so we finally have at least some other answers for FF, which we've never really done before. So I'm glad that we're expanding our thinking on that. Thanks, guys. So yeah, let's take a look at those posts we got from Brad and our other friends here. So 22 and 1700. Mermaid, want to do 22?
Yeah, I will do it. So Q post 22/11/1/2017 says, who controls the National Guard? Why was the National Guard recently activated in select cities within the U.S.? Can the National Guard work in coordination with the Marines? Do conditions need to be satisfied to authorize? What former president used the military to save the republic, and what occurred exactly? Biggest drop to ever be provided on poll. Study and prepare. The masses tend to panic in such situations. No war, no civil unrest, clean and swift.
Yeah, awesome job. Now that comes from Brad, and Brad, if I'm wrong, you can raise your hand and come on. But Brad was talking about Chuck Grassley. Now, in a lot of the Q drops, it says trust Grassley, right? And Chuck Grassley on the 15th of March, so just a few days ago, it looks like he posted. I'm not sure if it's Instagram or what platform, but it says, "I've voted to end Biden's vaccine mandates and end national emergency declaration. Now, today," with the number 2, "I voted to end," so there's 2 twos in there, "to end President Biden's mask mandate on airplanes in transit and ride shares." So that's where Brad got the 2 twos to make Q drop 22. Trust Grassley. Brad, I hope I didn't butcher that, buddy.
So, Tim, I kind of want to read this article. I just found it myself, so just doing some my own digging. And here's the benefit, too, guys, of doing the Q posts years down the road is sometimes other anons have done their own digs in threads and things like that. So this one just stood out to me because I've had some different answers. I've heard different things. We had the original Insurrection Act was 1807. I feel like Burr. Was he President Burr was involved with that or something, and he went kind of like rogue. But then I heard some different things. I heard Abraham Lincoln had done it too. So I just happened to just take this whole sentence and put it in there, and I found this article, which is very interesting because it's 2009, but it has it almost right in there, right in the title. What it takes to save the republic. Lincoln as commander in chief. So Tim, this is a total nod, I think, because remember we just had commander in chief on the previous post. But I kind of skimmed through here. Looks like it might take like 5 minutes to read, but so it's not too long. But it's from Mark Mukubin T. Owens, professor of national security affairs at the United States Naval War College. So I kind of want to read this real quick and see if how it might relate to everything.
Let's do it, brother. Let's see what it has to say.
Okay, Southern Gal, are you on here too? You want to split this with me? Is she still on here? Okay, well, I'll start reading. If Southern Gal, or Mermaid, if you want to help too, but if you can find that article I was on. Okay, I'm going to keep reading though. Here we go. By the time Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated in March of 1861, 7 states had separated from the Union and set up the Confederate States of America. A little over 5 weeks later, rebel gunners opened fire on Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor. In response, Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to serve 90 days. Interesting. Denouncing the president's policy of coercion, 4 more states left the Union. The ensuing war, the most costly in American history, would last for 4 years. When it was over, some 600,000 Americans had died, and the South had suffered staggering economic losses. Entering uncharted waters as he confronted the rebellion, Lincoln claimed broad emergency powers that he argued the Constitution had vested in the executive branch. This is going to be really interesting. Future repeats itself too, guys, and Q is alluding, I think, to this exact thing that's written in a Naval War College. There's something here, so keep listening. Okay. So where are we at? Although he asserted powers as commander-in-chief that presidents had not before used, he did not create his war power out of whole cloth. Lincoln found the power he needed to deal with the rebellion in the Commander-in-Chief Clause of the Constitution, in the clause of Section 2, requiring him to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and his presidential oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the U.S. Based on these powers, he called out the militia, authorized increases in the size of the regular Army and Navy, expended funds for military purchases, deployed military forces, blockaded southern ports, suspended the writ of habeas corpus in certain areas, authorized arbitrary arrests, and impaneled military tribunals to try civilians in occupied or contested areas. Later, he authorized conscription and issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln justified these steps as necessary to save the Union and preserve the Constitution. Although Lincoln had no formal military education, he learned quickly and proved to be a competent strategist. He intuitively adhered to the old adage that in war, the main thing is to make sure that the main thing remains the main thing. The main thing for Lincoln was to preserve the Union. But like any good strategist, Lincoln proved willing to adapt his strategy to the circumstances in order to achieve this goal. How are the parallels on this so far? Lincoln understood that the key to the victory for the Union was the simultaneous application of military force at multiple points, making it difficult for the Confederacy to defend its territory. Although it was not successfully implemented until 1864, Lincoln articulated the principle early in 1862. He also understood that a successful strategy required Union armies to defeat Confederate armies because they, not territory or the Confederate capital, constituted the Confederacy's true center of gravity. Finally, he understood the importance of the West in Union strategy. In early 1862, Union armies had employed the Tennessee River as the main line of operations to penetrate deep into western Tennessee and northern Mississippi. Grant, that'd be Ulysses S. Grant's subsequent victory at Shiloh, permitted Union forces to seize major parts of the Confederacy's one remaining east-west railroad line and open the way to both Vicksburg on the Mississippi River and Chattanooga. The capture of the latter permitted Union forces eventually to penetrate the Appalachian barrier and seize Atlanta. Did somebody want to read any more? Any ladies? Okay, I'll keep going. Lincoln's strategy also possessed a strong political element, which at the end of 1862 seized emancipation as its weapon. Emancipation struck not only at the war-making potential of the Confederacy, but also at the heart of the Southern social system. But Lincoln had to tread carefully for domestic political reasons, because while emancipation was welcomed by abolitionists and their radical Republican allies in Congress, Republicans, remember, were the ones trying to free the slaves. It was denounced by conservative Democrats in the North and loyal slaveholders in the slave states that remained in the Union, or denounced, by them. Lincoln needed both groups if he was to prosecute the war successfully, but in balancing their needs, he was denounced by the conservatives as moving too fast and by the radicals as moving too slowly. Lincoln was an activist commander-in-chief who frequently interfered with his generals. He intuitively understood that civilian leaders cannot simply leave the military to its own devices because war is an iterative process involving the interplay of active wills. He realized that what appears to be the case at the outset of the war may change as the war continues, modifying the relationship between political goals and military means. Perhaps the most important challenge Lincoln faced in the area of civil-military relations was that early in the war, his generals pursued the war they wanted to fight rather than one their commander-in-chief wanted them to fight. This was particularly true in the case of Major General George McClellan, who disagreed with many of Lincoln's policies and indeed may have attempted to sabotage them. As war president, Lincoln saved the Union. It is hard to imagine that anyone else among his contemporaries could have done what he did. Many were willing to let the Union go to pieces. Many others would have pursued policies that lacked any element of consent. As Lincoln remarked on numerous occasions, public sentiment is critically important in a republic. Okay, that's what the narrative, right? Public sentiment. This is what we, the digital soldiers, are helping restore right now. In its absence, legislators cannot pass laws and presidents cannot execute them. Lincoln could have avoided war by making another of the base concessions that politicians had been making for several decades, but that would have postponed the day of decision, making it unlikely that Republican government could survive in North America or anywhere. Lincoln's war presidency teaches us that democratic institutions, as important as they may be, by themselves do not save republics when they are threatened. It teaches us the necessity of prudence for successful democratic statesmanship and that citizens of a democratic republic respond to strong principled leadership in time of crisis. Lincoln set a high standard for leadership in time of war. He determined the goals of the war, set the strategy, called forth the resources of the nation, appointed the agents of victory, took the necessary steps to restrain those who would cooperate with the disunionists, and provided the rhetoric that stirred the people. Yet he did these things within a constitutional framework, like Donald Trump. In the conflicts that confront us today, we face issues not entirely unlike that confronted Lincoln, especially with regard to the issue of civil liberties in wartime. The American founders created institutions that have enabled the United States to minimize the inevitable tension between the necessities of war and the requirements of free government. The resultant ability of the United States to wage war while still preserving liberty is unprecedented. To his credit, Lincoln understood and took advantage of these institutions during the time of greatest stress on the American polity. In doing so, he established the precedents that have guided his successors in their attempt to keep the United States both safe and free.
Wow, that's quite the document right there. Future proofs past, brother.
It really does, yeah, for sure. And so this is interesting because there's that one Q post where it says plus 90 in wartime. It's one of these earlier posts. Let me see if I can just do plus 90 might work. Plus 90. So I never, oh, dang it, wartime. Right here. Okay, who has ultimate authority over our branches of military without approval conditions unless 90 plus in wartime conditions? That was interesting how the article mentioned that they could be in service for basically 90 days. But it's all connected. I think that article kind of spoke to a lot of things too. So I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that. And then otherwise, we'll keep going. Maybe go to Q Post 1700 next.
Yeah, let's go check out 1700. That was Patriot MS that shared that. And, of course, we still have the two words, laptop and looking glass. We got to scan those. And we still have a few more deltas, which are mainly pictures. And, we mentioned Durham earlier in the show, but those pictures that we're going to see in the 3-year deltas are all the deep state players that were involved with the Russia Gate and, FISA Gate and all that, all the gates. All the gates of hell.
Yeah. What did you say, Mermaid?
I was just going to say that 1700, kind of interesting what you just read earlier, because this is quite interesting as well, since it's about the government.
Oh, yeah, right. And there's no coincidence especially when our different digital soldiers pick the numbers. It's just crazy how we intertwine them. You want to read this one, Mermaid?
Yeah, sure. I'll do it. So 1700. 7/25/2018 at 14:08 and 27 seconds, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Q.
Yeah, great job, Mermaid. So right there from the Constitution, and it's, some of the, sometimes that language is a little difficult to understand, but it's just basically saying, sometimes we'll suffer through things even when they're not right, just because people are so accustomed to not wanting change and things like that. But, after a long train of abuses, and this word that Mermaid did well on, pursuing invariably, it's time to make that change when we've, it's basically shifted from what it's supposed to be. And then it's our right, it's our duty to throw off such government when it becomes so far off what it's supposed to be. And that's what we're happening right here now. And that's the devolution, and that's rising, all the citizens locally and doing their duty to take back control of their country, whichever country you're in. We're all based on this foundation of freedom, and that will be the way of the future, right? We're not shifting the power to China like the deep state wanted under this total social communist, total censorship, surveillance, all this nonsense. It's about freedom. And America's just on the front lines, but you guys are all with us in this ride together because we all want the same thing. Very interesting. That was right after this post, Tim, that we picked those, and then I just found that article randomly.
Oh, my head's spinning here right now. It's incredible how these connect. And, for anybody watching this, obviously, from the beginning, we asked our audience to participate each and every night when we're doing Q School. So we had a couple of beautiful Patriots, Brad and Patriot MS, throw out two numbers. One was 22, one was 1700. Now we've got the words. So we got numbers, we got words, and we're looking them up in QA.news, Looking Glass, and Laptop. So those are the next ones we'll glance at, Kyle. Looking Glass and Laptop, and then we'll hit back to the Deltas.
Yeah, let's do Looking Glass. Let's keep working backwards. I have my tabs, so I have laptops back. So let's do Looking Glass first, and we'll even do the last post first, and then the first post last. So this is a short one here. 3585. Get ready, Jonathan. I might have you do number 9, even though there's not a ton about Looking Glass. This is the real one where that actually says Project Looking Glass, only stated once in the Q post. 3585 1111, another 1111. Very interesting. Let's see if this tweet is still up. Cross your fingers. Nope. Let's see. Anyways, this Anon says, so QComs run through the Department of Defense servers, meaning this is a military operation. The bad actors got no sleep last night. That was, again, when we found out that 8kun, this is when Q kind of came back on after a long hiatus. That's when we found 8kun, that the IP address 11.11.18 was actually an IP address backed up by the Department of Defense. And Q had said that number about being unified, and we were thinking that meant a date. So there's the answer, the Q proof. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Q post 1, 2, 3, 4. Things are lined up. Thank you. We are an existential threat to the establishment. Trusting the plan. Q said America will be unified again. 11.11.18. So this was in April of 2018. So us Anons, we were thinking, okay, that means on November 11th, it's all going to happen. This would happen over and over again. And then, November 11th, 2018 comes, and it seems like maybe nothing happened that we know of, right? That's how it kind of works. But two very big things happened. One was this weird frequency or, some sort of, I don't know. People don't even know exactly what it is. I don't think it was this vibration frequency going around the planet, and it was cycling every 17 seconds. Some unified field, perhaps. I don't know exactly. If someone wants to, I asked for a dig last time. I didn't see it. If somebody has anything about that 11.11.18 frequency wave, that was, I think it went for like 24 hours, and it cycled every 17 seconds. But then fast forward, we went from 4chan to 8chan, and then there was the false flag. Think about full circle there. False flag in El Paso, the shooting at Walmart. They blame that on 8chan, even though these people all communicate on Facebook and everything else. But there was this manifesto posted, which was actually after the shooting even happened, supposedly from this guy. They shut down 8kun. 93 days dark. Q came back on 8kun, and sure enough, the people had showed that it's actually a router from an IP address from the Department of Defense, and it's backed up, and it was backed up on 11.11.18 was actually the IP address of the Department of Defense's IP address that was hosting 8kun, and that's where Q confirms that then America will be unified again. Future proves past. That was a big one. So very cool how that happened, how that all played out.
So we got Jonathan with his hand up too. I'm interested to see what Jonathan has to say. Bring Jonathan in, Mermaid.
Go ahead, John.
Hey guys, Kim, can you go back to the previous post? I just want to expand your mind on it a bit. I have something I want to share. The one with the code, because it was codes for those who noted. Okay, all right. So in IT, when you program or you script on a computer, whatever it's Windows, Linux, whatever, you open a command prompt to type command. When you do a slash, typically it means your command would follow that. So when Q is telling us ag image failure, it's meant to be written as IT code. So there's a message in that. It's simply, I think it means that it's we're talking to a quantum computer. So this is a drop for those who understand this type of language. And when you say root DoD 11.11.18, well, it does also refer to the Department of Defense and the fact that NCOON had to go on their network, which, if you know IT, you know there's different ranges of IP address, and there's a certain range of IP that is reserved for the government and military, and there's no way anyone would be able to use those IP address unless they are. So that's it. That's all I have.
Wow, man, pretty. I love it, and thank you for that feedback. Yeah, Jonathan's he's a whiz on the computer stuff. So thank you for adding a little more insight to us on that. Does anybody actually can anybody share the link where they I thought there was a Q post we even showed the image, actually showed the IP addresses. If we can find that. But it's pretty cool that then Q did it on 11/11/2019, right? Is actually when that pops up where we find out what that meant. One more crazy thing about all this, I don't know what made me think of that. I'm trying to think how I got there, because one other thing, okay, so this was 11/11/2019 also. So the same day, I just thought that was interesting. We're on Project Looking Glass, and I don't know if that made me think of that or not, or how I got there. But then we get to this other 11/11 post about the American.
And Kyle, Looking Glass could only be analyzed using a quantum computer.
Okay.
There's a direct link between these two posts.
Okay.
We could probably do 4 hours on Looking Glass if you want these days.
For sure.
Everything I have is going to make sense to a lot of people.
Yeah. All right, so there's this Twitter link. So we don't know what this person said on Twitter, but I said this. Okay, that's how we got there. This guy was saying, so QComs run through the Department of Defense servers, meaning this is a military operation. The bad actors got no sleep last night. I think this was maybe that image where the guy had showed that that IP address 11.11.18 was from the Department of Defense. I think that's what it was. Hopefully we can find that image maybe somewhere. Tim, I really want to play whatever this is. I know it's a random comment, so be advised, but it's from Pompeo, and I just really think we should play it right now.
Oh, yeah, I love pumps. Let's hear pumps.
Reliable information. I just want every American to know, go to trusted sources. Get this information from places that you know you have confidence in that, whether it's whitehouse.gov or dhs.gov or state.gov. Go to those places so that you can see what America is really doing. We're delivering good outcomes for the American people, and we can't allow disinformation, state actors and others who want to undermine what we're doing here in the United States. They present risk to each of us, and we need to be mindful of that and go only to trusted sources for good, reliable information. I just want
like Q.
Trust Kansas.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right on. And now Dustin said Q post 25 might have an answer. And then we actually got to read this post because one other thing caught my eyes is the capital letters on this one. So where are my gematria people at? See this? Let Let's see if there's something else with that. Why'd they capitalize that whole thing? What am I looking for, though? 25. QPost 25, Dustin said maybe has a clue. Let's take a look. Okay, QPost 25, which is, look at that, it's 1101. And then there's 11 here, 1111. Maybe there's a connection. Follow up to last post, return to comments. R.E. Pelosi and John M. Some of us refuse to say his last name for a reason. This all has meaning. Everything stated. Big picture stuff. Few positions allow for this direct knowledge. Proof to begin, 11.3. We all sincerely appreciate the work you do. Keep up the good fight. The flow of information is vital. God bless. Dustin, do you want to add anything to that? You said Law of War, DOD. I think that's the 11.3 there from the Law of War manual.
Yeah, that's where I was going. It might be referring to the Law of War manual. And if we can go back to Kansas's poster or the video, was it 29 seconds long? I don't know if that has any significance, but it's close to 25 if we want to look into that maybe.
Yeah, okay. I think you're definitely on the, I think it's, 11.3, that's what it definitely seems to be. That's what it's talking about, is that we didn't know this at the time. It seemed to be the election. I mean, the double meaning though, too, right? Also, after we saw the election get stolen on November 3rd. So let's see. Actually, we're probably a little short on time to go right into this for me to dig through here without knowing where we're going to go. But 11.3, we should look into very soon. Let me see if I can actually. Okay, I finally got this thing working. I don't know why it didn't for the longest time. Okay, end of occupation. I think this should take me right to that page, right? Yeah. Okay. So let me just at least read this since I can finally search how I'm supposed to. Okay, 11.3, end of occupation and duration of GC obligations. The status of belligerent occupation ends when the conditions for an application are no longer met. Certain GC obligations with respect to occupied territory continue for the duration of the occupation after the general close of military operations. So the Law of War is difficult, guys. You got to kind of read through it and also look up certain words and understand what things mean. It's all, understanding law. And that's, it's not easy, but just like Q, you got to keep reading it and you'll get better at it. Just like understanding our own laws and rights as free and sovereign beings as well, too, is a big part of this. These are all contracts that we've entered, whether we knowingly knew that or not. And that will empower you when you understand the laws and rights that you have. So thanks, Dustin, for pointing that out for us there. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that's the other Q post. So let's finish the Project Looking Glass ones real quick. So here's the Q post, 3585 11/11 2019. Shows this guy's post, and then it says Project Looking Glass.
Kyle,
yeah,
I think I remember what the GFOL means.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just this nice, Galactic Federation of Light, maybe, but I don't know what the B would stand for.
Okay. I like it.
I set you right up for this one.
Okay. All right. So it says Project Looking Glass ? Basically, Q is asking that. Is that how we were able to know, 11.11? How do we know exactly, that it would be backed up by 11.11 Project, Department of Defense IP address? How is this all possible? Q even and this is the only time they mention Project Looking Glass. They don't go into these deeper realms of stuff because you kind of got to just dig on that yourself. You got to go down those own rabbit holes. Ask and you will receive, seek and you'll find. So Q is very delicate in the way they present information and whatnot. But Q specifically asks, how are we able to do this? Is it, time travel or being in full control? And maybe it's a little bit of both, but Q specifically asked that. I'm not sure what post that is that I can think of. So, and then, the capitals definitely stand out here. So Jonathan gave us a theory, although we're missing one of the letters. We got to figure out what that one might be. I think it definitely could be relevant for sure. So that's that one. And then one more Project Looking, just Looking Glass. on this one. So through the looking glass, and that's a whole nother interesting topic, Alice in Wonderland and all the connections with that. Mermaid, want to read number 9?
Yes, absolutely. So here it goes. Post 9/10/29/2017 projection. These can't lose control over the Black population. At some point, the Great Awakening will occur, whereby these false local/national Black leaders are corrupt and paid off to help keep the Black population poor and in need. These formed the Confederate States against freeing slaves. These formed the KKK. HRC's mentor is who? What happens if the truth about Haiti is released? Do D's lose majority of the vote? Through the looking glass. They rely on the MSM to keep the narrative going, but tech is entrenching on their controls. They missed this in 2016 and desperately attempting to censor now due to CIA cash infusions. This will fail.
Yeah, thanks, Mermaid. This one came up a while back, and it seemed to be pointing, I really think it's related to this next, again, the Q information is quantum, relevant to past, present, future. So even though this post from 2017, I think this is going to be maybe more relevant than ever in this next upcoming midterm of 2022. Because, I mean, obviously Donald Trump, I think, had the highest Black vote of any Republican in the last 50 years or so, if I've got that correct, or maybe more. And then, but it's continuing to happen. People are waking up. People understand what's happening, and it's just crumbling before them on the narrative, and in particular, the political left used to rely on this vote. That's. I mean, I'm not going to add any more to that. So, someone have something? I thought I heard the mic. Okay, so that's so there's a looking glass. I love that topic. Thanks, Jonathan, for presenting that to us. And I still want let's figure out maybe with those caps. And I still want to see somebody do gematria on there too. So we got PLGGFOLB. What is it? What are some of the possible gematria on that one too? Let's take a look at that. All right, and then let me do these 2 other drops on the deltas. Tim, let's get these 2, and then we'll do the laptop ones, and then we'll maybe just show some of the pictures for these other deltas. So this one here.
Kyle, can I ask a question?
Yeah, buddy, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been in the Q movement for over 4 years now, and just reading that last Q post that you read, I think I missed something the whole time. So whenever Q mentions through the glass, Alice in Wonderland, I've always thought there was, some deeper meaning than maybe I missed. I don't know. Does anybody know what a looking glass is? Now I'm thinking, researching the Q post through all these years, it's a mirror, right? And Q's told us to think mirror. Is looking glass just a mirror, or is it something deeper? Because if we go back to that post that you just read, and they're talking about projection, that's exactly what a mirror is, right? It's the reverse opposite of what you actually see. So again, I may be thinking too deep into it, and they may be there, but I may have missed something for a lot of years. Maybe it's just think mirror. I don't know. Yeah,
I think you're definitely onto something, man. I mean, I think you're right. You're right on spot there, because that makes so much sense. I mean, it is projections right at the top of the post, and that's why you reread drops, because sometimes you just glean new information or you see it a different way, and that's why we keep reading the post here on Q School. Where's my partner Tim at? You got any thoughts?
It's a literal looking glass. Think the movie Contact and the movie Paycheck. You watch both of them movies, you'll understand a lot more. Thanks.
Yeah, the movie Contact is supposed to be basically kind of like a replica of what the actual project Looking Glass looked like. I think they Hollywooded it a little bit. I think they made it bigger, but I don't know. Maybe it's that big underground. But it's that one in particular supposedly plays off your own consciousness. So it is kind of like peering into your consciousness. And the story goes from what I've heard in these kind of black budget projects is that the deep state had their own looking glass, but Hillary Clinton used it, and she saw herself as president because it does go on your own subconscious. And I'm thinking maybe the White Hats allowed it to maybe look a certain way. So she saw herself as president in the looking glass. So that's why they're also so confident and cocky. And that's why she tweeted, that tweet that she did before the the election that she was going to be president, basically. So very interesting how that plays. But yeah, I think you're totally right there, Dustin, about just a reflection, right? Because D's lose majority votes. It's all projection.
Well, what happened there was the White Hats and the Black Hats had their own looking glass. There's more than one. But
right.
The time frame, what's coming up now, all converged into one point in time, and the Black Hats lose in every scenario they tried to look at.
Yeah, there's a great.
Jonathan's got his hand up. I'm gonna unmute him.
Okay, yeah, and there's that great interview with Bill Wood too. Maybe somebody can repost that Bill Wood Project Looking Glass. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Where this is going?
Great.
You guys fall into the trap. Sorry, man. Just to clarify, through the looking glass and project looking glass, although it's the same word, they mean two different things. When you say project, it's automatically a military blackout project. So Q wants us to look in that term specifically with that post. The other one, it's the alias through the looking glass. And I'm not saying they're not linked one to one another, but it's important to make the distinction. The way the words are written, it's for us, Anons, to do research on them. So it's always within that perspective that the posts are written.
Great point, Jonathan. Thanks for hitting that. Sometimes we get a little too far on our decodes, and it's important to just make the foundation understood. And I think that was a great distinction and very important. So thank you for that.
Kyle, Grace for all had a question before, so that's why
Grace.
I hadn't muted her.
Hi. You got my mind pinging off hundreds of different ideas with the last comments that Dustin brought up. Jonathan said what I was going to say, but I also wanted to ask Dustin and ask Kelly to back me up that when Scott brought up the movie Contact, I don't watch many movies at all, but I watched that one. And while she's in that machine, does it bring to mind Ezekiel's wheel to anybody? Maybe Kelly?
Well, I can say I have a definite affinity for the movie Contact. I love that movie, and I've watched it for years. It's always made me wonder and expanding my thinking. But yeah, I really do appreciate that movie Contact. If anybody has not watched that one, I definitely encourage anybody to watch the movie Contact. It's great.
And what was the name of that?
That's Project Looking Glass. Through the Looking Glass is the movie called Paycheck with Ben Affleck.
Boom.
Kelly might not be in right now, but Ezekiel's wheel is in the Bible, and it's a contraption that he was in. And scientists have dealt with that. I can't remember all I knew about it. I guess I'll have to go back and research it again and bring it to you, because it seems like crickets here with that train of thought I'm on.
No, I think, and I hear what you're saying too. Go ahead. I
didn't make the connection with the movie, The Paycheck, before. That's amazing. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, and I will agree. I've watched Paycheck a couple times. It's been a couple years since I've watched it, but Paycheck is definitely very interesting, considering what we're talking about now.
well, look at the box. Also, remember, they're always trying to convey information through picture, image, the way we think and read data. So when you research through the looking glass, you find this movie Paycheck. The first thing you see the Wikipedia link. You click on it. What's written, Kyle, under Paycheck?
Remember the future?
There you go. What is glass again?
Yeah.
It's a device that was engineered by the military to see past, present, and future.
The mirror, where contact is the actual project.
Right.
It's two different styles of a futuristic looking.
Well, there was two main timelines, and I don't want to get too deep in that subject, but I think the mirror has to do with that as well.
That makes sense. Interesting. Good stuff, guys. And just real quick here, this is what Grace was talking about, the Ezekiel's wheel. And definitely, I see a lot of similarities to it for sure, Grace. So thanks for bringing that up. And look at, there's even, this is some artist rendition, but there's looks like almost a mirror right there too. So yeah, they definitely have a lot of similarities with the rings inside the rings, so to speak, too. So yeah, I wonder if they're talking about maybe something similar.
Well, I think the mirror has maybe also something to do with the pineal gland, because that's what Wilcock talked about into his looking glass presentation. Is they by using human beings and their pineal gland, which is connected to those. We're connected to the site, right? It's through those prism that we see.
Yes, it's got its own like little tiny.
Pineal gland. We're talking about the same thing,
right?
Now that just shared before you went here, you take a picture of that and then go look at Contact, the movie. Exactly.
Yeah, that's.
I need to rewatch. I don't remember watching it, but it's connected. I know you're right.
You see this, Grace? You see this, Grace? This is this is a statue, but this looks just like pretty much the same thing. I think you're definitely on the right track there with that. The Contact, or which Contact is supposed to be pretty much like a replica of what the Project Looking Glass looked like. And here's just another image. I don't know where these images are coming from, so just be mindful of that. But this one here looks a lot. I mean, it's like real similar. So I think you're definitely, because this is exactly what it kind of looked like. So I think you're on the right track there, Grace, for sure.
I just pulled up Ezekiel's wheel was a magnificent vision that God showed Ezekiel. It's important to note that at the time of this vision, Ezekiel was in captivity in Babylon. He was among 10,000 exiles carried off during that period, and he resided by the river of Chebar. I knew more of it, but I'll tell you that just by saying he was given the vision when he was in captivity, I think that what I remember, Ezekiel was able to look into the future with that contraption that was revealed to him.
Yeah,
and this may be the future now that they have that wheel contraption that is what they're calling the looking glass.
Yeah, I think they seem definitely related.
Hey, Kyle, go back to that biblical picture.
This one?
The like brown and white, or brown and yeah, that one. Now look at the God in the sun. How many times here lately, the past few weeks, have we seen that particular statue being put all over our boards? Isn't that interesting?
Also, I think Melzie's been wanting to ask a question. Are you ready for her?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Melzie. Go ahead, Melzie.
I just wanted to comment to Grace about Ezekiel's wheel, that I believe that it is some type of ancient technology. It might be the Merkaba, like the light body, but they definitely had ancient technology, especially with the Ark Covenant. And also what Jonathan said about the looking glass being your pineal gland. It's like they would use they put like an electromagnetic current around liquid so that it would be like a pineal gland. And then they would video it. But there are multiple timelines. You don't just, we have, even for ourselves, there's like thousands of timelines for us. We just have to decide which one we want to be in. And a lot of us came here with contracts. We have a contract. Your left hand has your contract on it, and your right hand has where you are with the contract. So your hands will actually change the lines on them. But the Bhagavad Gita, I always say it wrong, it talks about this type of vehicle as well. So whether it was like a UFO or some type of looking glass, we see that happen with John in Revelation as well. Like he had some type of ability to see, right?
All right, folks, I'm jumping in.
The last comment that I have is that a lot of times before war, there's a sighting of UFOs, like with, I think it was with Washington, or, it was during the Revolution, and they were going up some bay, and they had a UFO that is documented, and there's pictures of Jonathan might have them, of Washington with UFOs in it. So I think that we've been led for a long time. It's not a new phenomenon. I mean, I've seen them. I'm sure many others have.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Tim 17 here. We're going to cut back into the Q drops. We got about 10 minutes left to go in the show. We've gotten off track here for some reason. We're doing a recording. Well, after the recording, we'll keep the chat open. We can open up the conversation to all kinds of great topics like this looking glass thing. Kyle, we still have a lot of Q drops to go through, brother. Yeah. So let's move along here, please. Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, and thanks, guys, for all your insight information. Yeah, John, like I said, opened up a can of worms with that whole topic there. So thank you, guys. So let's see. We've been doing the 3-year deltas, March 18th, 3-year deltas. We did our 2 drops from our friends today, 22 and 1700. And then we covered looking glass. I'm going to go back to the 3-year delta. I want to cover these 2 real quick. March 18th, 2019, 3114 and 3115. This is a Twitter post here. So this is from 8chan themselves, tweeted March 16, 2019. The 8chan administration is responding to law enforcement regarding the recent incident where many websites were used by a criminal to publicize his crime. We always comply with U.S. law and won't comment further on this incident so as not to disrupt the ongoing investigation. So back in time where we were, I'm pretty sure that this is was 8 Kun by now, right? Let me see here. When's the date here? Maybe not. No, because that was later on. So this is before. So who is the real intended target? Obviously, it's 8chan, right? That's what they're talking about. They're trying to get 8chan shut down. This is another basically future proofs past. Q is kind of alluding to it already because not till I believe it was like September, maybe August of 2019. Then we had those 93 days where 8chan was dark, or Q was dark for 93 days, and then brought back up on 8 Kun from that false flag, full circle of what we talked about, false flag there in El Paso at the Walmart. So the next post here, March 18, 2019, says Mueller's in that, Robert Mueller in the kill box, report delay, ? Panic in D.C. The real panic comes in the form of a last resort. In the kill box, +21, +2, and +4. So this Q's mentioned this before, saying like a last resort. Let me look up just last resort because I believe it's talking about prosecuting people in the media for the things that they have done. I believe that's last resort is mentioning that. I don't know if anyone else knows any of the references for last resort. Well, I mean, I guess we could do double meaning. What's last resort? Is that when you die, or what else would another meaning for last resort be?
The very last option you have to go with.
Right. Okay. So yeah. What's your last option? Okay, I got you. Anyone else on that? I wonder what these numbers. Tim, you get anything off these numbers? 21, 2, 4. Anything make sense to you there? I still kind of think it's like when Q talks about the different connections, like in the media to the DNC there, and then it says, 29 national connections missing, 80 something local connections. Maybe this is different media members that would be added to this list. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about those numbers either. I'm looking at it on the screen, Kyle. I'm still thinking about those numbers.
This is interesting. Daily Beast Bar, last resort, jailed journalists. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So this, and then look at this is back when it was qmap.pub. They would make their own titles, but they titled this, "The Real Panic Comes in the Form of Last Resort." So this is the post that I just read. So this image is embedded in here, and it's Last Resort Q. Then it's embedded again, and let's see, this image here with Bill Barr from the Daily Beast. I can conceive of situations where journalists might be jailed as last resort. So Bill Barr said that specifically. So there's that connection I was thinking. 3177. Let's see what else we got in this. We got that one embedded. Then that's embedded with both of these. Would you look at that? Last resort, panic. Okay, so that's some people on the chans piecing that all together. Here's what was in Anon's post. So Anon put another Anon's post all together, and then Q responded to that. Why didn't POTUS fire Rod Rosenstein after reporting RE offered to wear a wire? Remember, Rod Rosenstein offered to wear a wire to entrap Donald Trump on the 25th Amendment? Why did Whitaker, that's the acting attorney general before Bill Barr came in as the regular attorney general, why did Whitaker and Barr retain Rod Rosenstein to the end? Is it because he's an undercover white hat? Who signed off on the Mueller summary report submitted by Barr yesterday? I'm guessing that would be Rod Rosenstein. Who signed fraudulent FISA warrants? Rod Rosenstein. Who appointed Mueller as a special counselor? Rod Rosenstein. Who has full control? Rod Rosenstein and the white hats. Optics are very important. Q. Interesting that post took us there. And then it looks like we're getting maybe coming up on the March 18th, the Deltas, Tim. I see Rachel Chandler I saw her picture coming up in the near future, and this is popping up on Last Resort. Anybody know anything about this resort? Is it a last resort? This is an image here where we get Bill Clinton and these other guys. I thought the one guy looks like Tony Podesta, but he's evidently it's somebody else. And then we also get Chief Justice John Roberts is just outside of frame here, yucking it up with these pedos and pervs on some island someplace. So here's one more reference. Q is saying, what if HRC won and appointed 2+ crooked Supreme Court justices and the last resort? I think that's also what Q is saying, is we were going to have to basically have a real coup with the military, but they definitely didn't want to do that. So that's why they were hoping Donald Trump could win the election and complete the plan here too. But I think everything's going exactly to plan here. So that's a last resort. So, okay, so those last two posts before we start getting into the images. So let's just cover the guys' names. We got James Clapper. Okay, these are all March 18th deltas, so we're 3-year deltas. Okay, we got James Clapper, JC in the Q post. All these look like crooks and criminals here. Sally Yates. Okay, it says Sally Q on the name. That's interesting. Wonder what that might mean. We got Susan Rice. Is she I'm going to get that right now. Is she somebody that we don't know? Is she somebody else? Loretta Lynch. It's good to see the faces and the names too. That might help you understand all the different people in the Spygate. This is John Brennan, okay, CIA director, Muslim. I don't know what else to go with that guy, but yeah, he's definitely no good. We got James Comey, okay, or James Corney, or also JC in the Q post. Also, we got James Clapper and James Coney or JC's on here, and then Andrew McCabe, number two at the FBI. So there's our images. I guess we'll go one more of these. They got listen carefully. Stop doing that. What the heck is going on here? Okay, listen carefully. So we got Devin Nunez tweet. Let's see what he tweeted. Looking forward. How about that? To right after we just did the looking forward on the looking glass. Looking forward to being on Sean Hannity to discuss X. Wonder what that was supposed to be here on the X. And then Q just said, listen carefully. So whatever they talked about on Hannity on March 18th, 2019 would be very interesting. So that's the rest of our 3-year deltas. I want to jump over and look at some of those laptop posts, unless you have something else planned for us, Tim.
No, yeah, let's check out a couple laptops. We're getting really close to the end of the show now. We're at the 2-hour mark right now, and we got that closing video that'll actually probably go really nice with those last pictures you just showed. And there's only 2 of the 4-year deltas, and I can't remember what they were, but maybe a quick scan.
Yeah, okay. So 12 drops with the, again, a laptop in them. So way early on, 247. Just basically think HRC emails, Wiener laptop, etc. There's Peter Struck in there, Melissa Hodgman, his wife. Follow the wives. Okay, data promotion of wife. How do they stack the deck? Who do they want inside the government? What are puppets? A lot of good stuff there. Okay, there's another connection. Number 2 in the FBI, that's Andrew McCabe. Wife connection. She donated to the Clinton campaign. Follow the wives. This is actually a really big post. This is cool with laptop. I've mentioned this a couple times now. It says, follow the wives. Keep watching the news this week. Future proves past. And this is December 4th, 2017. Okay. So now look at this one more connection with laptop. I see over here in this other post with laptop. Says, why was the information on Wiener's laptop in the first place? Then it says D5, though. D5, which is the highest classification of an avalanche. But as we got closer to December 5th of 2018, so this is August right here. So is Q kind of alluding to that? They were starting to point to us, hey, maybe D5 is going to be December 5th. Okay, but then all of a sudden they insert their false flag and they use their ammunition. They kill off George H.W. Bush or whatever happened with that. He winds up having his funeral on D5, December 5th, and sure enough, that's when all the wives get served some letter in their program. It says 1 year and 1 day after Q had already said, follow the wives, keep watching the news this week. That was a major news week, right? George H.W. Bush passed away and has the funeral, and then future proofs past. So that's really cool that we get to highlight that just real quickly with laptop. And very interesting that laptop pops up in D5 in here too. Again, I think Q was intentionally probably doing that to make people, make us think, make the deep state think, hey, this is serious. They're going to really do something on the Clinton Foundation on December 5th. But Q was ready for that, and then moves and counter moves, had them expend their ammunition, and more people have just continued to wake up, and they just have nowhere to go. They're just getting beaten down. I mean, everything. The narrative's falling apart. The Ukraine war. Yes, there's some people out there that are totally still lost and under mind control, but they're going to keep waking up, especially as more of us keep waking up other people too. This is kind of weird here. This reconcile 1 equals 1. I don't understand that post. Okay, justice.gov. I want to look at that one some other time. 1978 to 79. Let's see what else we got. Laptop. Oh, yeah, here's good. This was right from the laptop. Now, this is on Fox News. I like to show the graphic that's straight from the Inspector General's report. This is from actual notes of an FBI agent reviewing the Anthony Weiner's laptop. Their notes were texting 15-year-old sexually explicit material, initial analysis of laptop, thousands emails, Hillary Clinton and Foundation, crime against children. That's what this is all about, guys. Crime against children, plus.
Yeah, and of course today's news, like yesterday and today, you've got the Hunter Biden laptop news too. So there's a couple of laptops that are really going to come into play here, I think, in the near future. Great topic.
Here comes Hunter. Like, we get another "Shall we play a game" too with this Anthony Weiner laptop. Talking about the people fired, but this one here where we got two about Hunter Biden's. Let's cover those real quick because that's relevant to right now, especially. How do you inform your targets, business partners, what you have? Why would Hunter Biden have such material on his laptop? Because they are blackmailing, right? They got to have control of Hunter Biden if they're paying him to be their little puppet and, make sure daddy makes this policy and make sure daddy sends us these billions of dollars of taxpayers funding so that we can, stuff our coffers and do other illegal activity. Why would Hunter Biden have such material on his laptop? Okay. How was the content originally received? Email? I'm not quite sure on the answer to that one. Why would Hunter Biden risk turning over such material to a computer repair shop? Contents unrestricted. So if you guys know the story, what he turned it into the computer repair shop, and then the person found the images and then turned it over to the FBI. Is that how that went? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So Q is kind of telling us here even more, reading between the lines, peering behind the curtain, that there's something playing out here on a much bigger level. This is just how it's playing out publicly. It just wouldn't make any sense for Hunter Biden to just turn over this laptop to a repair shop when there's that much sensitive, really damaging info on there. Okay, so it says right here now, continue with on purpose, years of being treated poorly by Pop. Okay, Pop is who Hunter Biden references in the emails, or the big guy getting his cut. So this is Q saying this. Now, be mindful, they do use misdirection on us a lot, but are they telling us truth here? Maybe. Years of being treated poorly by Pop, probably, or simple negligence. Probably not this one, likely, right? If such information on laptop, why wouldn't contents be claimed? Oh yeah, so that was the other thing too, is then the pawn, defaulted on their loan when he's like, come on, like, why? That would never happen. Several attempts made to claim, ? Messages left. Why wouldn't Hunter Biden want to reclaim, knowing the contents on the drive could bury Pops and family? A troubled life, a troubled family. Looks can be deceiving. Q. So Q is saying that Hunter Biden turned on his father because he was sick of everything that was going on. That may very well be, but I think there's just more to this, and it definitely points to me saying this is all just a white hat operation, though, the whole thing, because it just doesn't make sense. But that's what Q is saying, is that we just have to take it at their word, but we always want to be mindful of misdirection, that Hunter Biden seemed to, roll over on Pop there because he's sick of all the abuse. And I think that's happening in other maybe people born into the cult, right? We were talking about some of these other people that might be white hats in the entertainment industry coming forward. 4898 has this image shared again. And then it says, why is the FBI's top child porn lawyer involved in the Hunter Biden laptop case? Special Agent Joshua Wilson. Do you see a pattern? Q. And then one more, Fox News laptop, Hunter Biden linked to FBI money laundering probe. And look at, they got a flag. That might be is that today's news? What is this? This is an old one, right? Yeah, okay. Interesting. Ukraine's flag pops up right on there because it's all connected, right? Ukraine is intimately connected with the Hunter Biden laptop, with Donald Trump's first impeachment, with the bio labs, with COVID. It's all connected, guys, and it's all coming down the pipe here, and it's unraveling right before us. And if you've been reading the Q posts, all this stuff has been in there for a long time telling us all these things already. So, yeah, love the laptop one.
Yeah, and we're going to wrap things up, Kyle, and I want you to jump to one of the two 4-year deltas. It's Q drop 956, and we're going to wrap up with that one. And I got the closing video for you on Q School channel. 956. It's a 4-year delta today after everything that we went through here this week and in tonight's show and all the news that's breaking. Look what this says, folks. This is a 4-year delta, timestamp 2/10/23. Panic mode. Enjoy the show, Q. We are winning, folks. You got to believe us. You got to trust in yourself and trust in the movement. Trust in this information. The truth is breaking through. They're trying to spin it. The deep state, the evil SOBs that we're up against, they don't stand a chance. And there is a lot of panic going on right now. And the more they panic, the more obvious it becomes to others, which is part of the Great Awakening, Kyle. And that's why we're here to help everybody. Yes, next week, boom, boom, boom. We like that one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what's coming up the rest of the weekend. This weekend, of course, right after the recording, we'll have a couple of announcements. We'll keep the chat open, keep the beverages flowing, keep the popcorn popping. And yeah, let's have an incredible weekend, folks. So, Kyle, I'll hand it off to you to bring up that closing message, the video. And I just want to say to all these beautiful brothers and sisters around the world, keep fighting, keep uniting, and keep inviting others to the show.
Amen, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. Great conversation, guys. Good stuff today. We got a little sidetracked, but I think it was a good conversation. Maybe we'll continue that later on the chat here. Thanks for going through the Q post with us. Thanks to all the digital soldiers that hopped on and helped out a little bit today. Also, thanks for the numbers, the words. We got Looking Glass, we got Laptop, a lot of different interesting connections in there. Thank you, Tim, to always keeping us on track here and moving forward through the Q posts. Thank you to all the amazing admins here helping run the channel throughout the night and streaming other videos and everything else you do. Mermaid, Kelly, Scott, thank you guys so much. Christina, anybody seen from Peacekeeper in a while? So it's been a while now. I just want to check in if Southern Gal or Christina, make sure he's doing okay. Anyways, thank you guys all very much. We're going to end with a video. What's that?
Yeah, he's doing okay. He's down at my mom's working
Okay.
on the house. So he's been working all day and everything. He'll be back this coming weekend. So
Right on.
he should be back probably Sunday or so. And I'm sure he'll jump on. He's just been working day and night. So he probably lays down and goes to sleep when they're done working after spending a little time with mom. So he's doing good though.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, Mermaid. Go ahead. Thank you for thanks for hanging out, Mermaid. Appreciate you. Love you. And then ladies' night tonight too. Or tomorrow night, Saturday night. That'll be March 19th, 2022. Come hop in. Looks like it's 8:17 Eastern around the start time. Gonna be lots of fun. Check us out. Check the different things on our channel here. And again, if you guys want to help us out, keep the channel going, rock and rolling, we got a couple different options there to donate, or you can help, check out their CBD skin products. Thank you all very much and enjoy the show. One more video to play for you to close it out.
Look at who's in the video.
Right?
We caught them all.